everyone, this is Debbie from Project 39 Mini Albums. I have something fabulous to show you today. I'm so excited about it. I had purchased from scrapbook.com some paper called The Great Outdoors by Photoplay, and I also picked up some photopolymer clear stamps in the dies of Tulla and Norbert, and a couple of pieces of the I have to look at the little tag. The Tulla and Norbert Camping with My Gnomies by Becky Moore. There was some paper that coordinated nicely with this Great Outdoors, and so I made a camping mini album. My idea was to make some Tulla and Norbert stamps or cut-aparts and have them available so kids or adults could color them and add them into photos as they travel. So that is what the idea behind this mini album is. Now I'm going to do a very complete walkthrough at the end of this. What I'm going to do is do a quick walkthrough, then the tutorial, and then the more involved walkthrough at the end. It's not difficult to make, but I will say I used my mini cinch to do it. I do tell you another option if you don't want to use the mini cinch. So anyhow, here's the cover, and I take you inside. So it's actually two mini albums in one. You get this one, which is about 6 1/4 by 4 1/2, and then this one, which is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 basically. And then inside this little compartment is a bunch of Tulla and Norberts all ready for you to color and take on some adventures with you. So that is pretty much it. There are 8 pages on this side. There are 6 pages on this side. And it's just something a little different. I haven't done anything like this before. And I thought that it would be fun to have Tulla and Norbert accompany us on our camping adventures. So let's get into it, and here we go. Okay, let's get started. You will need 2 pieces of 5 by 7 chipboard and 1 piece 1 1/2 by 5. To cover, you're going to need 2 pieces of 8 1/2 by 7 that you will just tape together. I'm using some 1/4" score tape and putting it on that 7-inch side. And then I'll go ahead and burnish that down real well. And just give it a good burnish. This, by the way, is in double time, 2 times speed, so I don't normally work that fast. All right, I've peeled off the backing of the tape, and I'm going to line it up on this scoreboard. I'm going to try again because I didn't line it up straight, but there we go. And then burnish on where that tape is. I guess you could use glue. I just use tape. I'm peeling the backing off of the spine piece, the 1 1/2 by 5, and centering it as best I can on the paper. And then I'm going to take 1/4" score tape and put it on both sides of that spine, burnish it real well, and then peel off the paper backing, or not paper, whatever it is, the non-stick backing on that double-sided adhesive. And I have I've covered the whole sheet of the chipboard with double-sided adhesive, and I'm peeling that off and I'm putting that on. It's overlapping that 1/4" score tape just a bit. Just the 1/4 inch is just a little bit too big, but 1/8 inch is too small. So there is probably 3/16 of an inch between the spine and the covers. If you want, you can glue a couple of pieces of chipboard together and use that as a spacer. But I just eyeball it. As long as it's parallel, then that's okay. Now I'm putting my ruler against the edge of the chipboard and cutting off the side of the cardstock because I didn't measure it. Now I am cutting off the corners of the cardstock, leaving about 1/8 of an inch gap between the corner of the cover of the chipboard and the paper. So 1/4 of an inch. I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch. I'll use my bone folder and burnish real well. And then I'll grab my liquid adhesive. You could use liquid adhesive, you could use permanent double-sided tape if you want. Whatever works for you here. I always put a bead of glue right next to the chipboard. I feel like it moistens the cardstock and helps it fold a little easier. It may do nothing. In my mind, that's what it does. So, all right, and I gently fold that long side. I always work the long sides first, and then I push down right where the spine piece is, and then burnish as best I can. If you get a little lump, it's no big deal. Just burnish it real well. Okay, and just keep working it real well. And now do the other long side. Again, a bead of glue next to the chipboard, and then a bead of glue near the edge, and then zigzag. And then I'm pushing against my surface and folding it. And then again, burnishing real well. I like this size mini album. It gives you, if you were to make this in a mini album, gives you room for 4x6 landscape photos. But I'm going to do something a little different on here, as you probably saw from that quick walkthrough. We'll do a longer walkthrough and talk about how I decorated. And I do add pattern paper as I go, so make sure you have a pad and pencil to write down the measurements. All right, and you see what I'm doing. I'm pushing those corners in, adding glue along the chipboard, then along the edge, zigzagging it, using my bone folder to push it down. And if the glue seeps out, I'm using my bone folder just to push it, and then I wipe it down on the paper towel I've got next to me, just cleaning off my bone folder. I'm putting the edge of the bone folder along the edge of the chipboard just to give it a crisp, clean look. Here I am pushing where that the little gusset is between the spine and the covers, making sure that paper attaches to that double-sided adhesive we've got down. And that helps it bend easy and not crack. All right, now I'm taking a piece of 2" by 6". All right, I'm grabbing a piece of 4" by 5" cardstock. I put some 2" adhesive tape in the center and some 1/4" on each side. And I just peeled off that center part, and I adhered that, and then I'm rubbing my bone folder along that channel where the spine and the cover meet, and trying to get that cardstock to adhere to that double-sided tape that we put next to the spine pieces. And then I'll peel off the 1/4" score tape backing on either side and push it down. I know sometimes I use liquid adhesive. I don't know, for some reason when I put down the spine piece I use the score tape because I don't want the glue to get into that channel. All right, now I have a piece that's 2" by 6". I scored 1/2 inch on both sides. I am mitering the corners, and I'm going to put this down. I make a mark from the right hand side that's 4 1/4. I would rather if you put it in at 3 1/2. So don't follow my measurement here. Put it in starting at 3 1/2. What this is going to do is hold down our little book, and if you put it closer to the right side, there's just more room to slide it in. All right, I've cut the pattern paper, and I'll give you the measurements. Hold on. All right, the pattern paper is 4 5/8 by 6 5/8. For the spine piece, it's 4 5/8 by 1 7/16. And I also have 1 3/4 by 4 5/8 for that 2-inch piece that we use that's going to hold the little mini album. I also add 3 magnets to the left-hand side, 2 up at the top and 1 down towards the bottom. That's going to hold another little photo mat. All right, so I put the glue on one side of the paper after I slid it in that little 2-inch piece, and then put it on the other side, stay away from the spine. And this is the piece that's 1 3/4 by 4 5/8 to cover that little piece. And then here I'm adding glue to that piece for the left-hand side. Put it all over. I'll add a little glue around the magnets. No, I don't on this one. And just put it in. Burnish it real well. Go around those magnets. And then we're good. So I'm adding double-sided adhesive to the sides of this piece that's going to go on the spine. I usually add glue, but I find I'm really messy with it, and glue gets all over the piece. That's why I put the double-sided adhesive on the edges. And then I fill in with the liquid adhesive and make sure it is centered, and then burnish that down real well. You could use the liquid adhesive if you want. All right, we're going to make a box to hold the little gnomes. If you don't have these gnomes, you want to use it for something else, make it just a little bit taller than the tallest item and a little bit wider than the widest item. So that is why I got the measurements that I got with this. Come here, you guys. Come here. Okay, so the box is comprised of 3 pieces. The box itself, this little top piece, which also is the back piece, and then this little 1/2-inch piece, which is a flap. I used a circle punch to cut here. If you don't have a circle punch, you could use a corner rounder or you could leave it straight. It doesn't matter. So you need 3 pieces for this. You'll need a piece that's 3 1/2 by 3 5/8, a piece that's 1 7/8 by 6, and for that little piece you inserted in 1/2-inch by 4. Oh, let's do the easy one. 1/2-inch by 4. We're going to score at 1/2-inch, at 1, at 2 7/8, and at 3 3/8. Let's move that over. Okay, so with this 3 1/2 by 3 5/8, I've got the 3 5/8 side at the top. I'm going to score at 1/2, at 7/8, 2 3/4, and 3 1/8. Then I'm going to rotate and score at 1/2 and 7/8. So basically I'm going to have a 3/8 of an inch gusset. We'll miter that in just a second. This 1 7/8 by 6, we're going to score at 3 1/4 and at 3 5/8. All right, let's miter this piece. So we've got the 1/2-inch piece, 3/8, 3/8, 1/2-inch. We're going to just miter at the top those 1/2-inch pieces. So don't miter across that. Now for the bottom, I'm going to go straight up to that inside score line, the one closest to the center. So straight up and stop at that second score line. Come on. And then I'm going to slightly miter it at the top. So starting at that second score line at the top, I'm going to slightly miter up to that cut we had before. All right, so it's going to look like that. All right, let me move this scoreboard out of the way. And let's fold and miter this piece. I'm going to turn it upside down so we'll have the bumps facing up. It's not drastically important that you fold into the bumps. I know a lot of people do. I mean, if you don't, you don't. It's not the end of the world. If I can, I do, but I don't stress about it if I don't. How's that? All right, now I'm going to also use 1/8 of an inch score tape. I know I mostly use liquid adhesive, but just because this is sort of, I don't know, I feel like I'm all thumbs when I'm putting this together, maybe because it's so small, maybe because I don't know. But I'm going to use this tape so that way the tape will hold until the glue dries. So I put it on and I burnish it down a lot. I'm going to dry fit it before I peel that off, so I'll show you what I'm doing. Now this piece, so we have this piece here, the 1 7/8 by 6. We scored this at 3 1/4. So here's the 3 1/4 inch score. You go to there. I'm actually going to turn it upside down just so, and I'll fold at those just so we can see. So what we're going to do is this piece is going to go into here, and there's still going to be 1/2 inch at the top. That'll just allow us a little room for our little gnomies. So don't, looks like, so just make sure that you're cognizant of that. So then this piece can be cut down. And this is where I'm going to use my circle punch. I'm going to take this is 1 7/8, my circle punch is 2 inches. So I can take this and put it into the back of my punch. Where is it? And it sort of goes in the channel where it would cut. You know, I've done this 6 times today, and it went in with no problem. There we go. So now, on my circle punch, it's the Recollections one. There is this piece where the plastic ends and then the metal begins. And I know to line that score line up with that, and it gives me about 1 inch left over from the top of my circle. That's just how I figured out sizing on it. Now you could just eyeball it. Well, it's more than 1 inch. It's here 1 1/4 inches. So I have up to the top of the circle to the first score line about 2 1/4 inches. You could just eyeball it and figure out what's going to work for you. All right, so this is going to go this way. I'm going to take off my backing. And I'll add some, I'll add some of my liquid adhesive. If it'll come out, because I didn't put my little pin in it. I'll just put it on either side of that little 1/8 inch score tape. If you don't have score tape, then you could use your 3/8, or you don't need the score tape. I just do it because I'm clumsy when it comes to folding these smaller pieces and making sure this will flap. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this onto this flap, and then I'm going to fold all that over. So I guess we could go like this and put that all the way on, make sure it's straight, and then fold this over. So again, this is where my score tape will hold until the glue dries. So now I can turn this over and just go inside and burnish it. All right, now I'm going to take this 1/2 inch piece, and I'll just fold it the score lines. And since this is 1/2 and the width of the box, 1/2 inch, the width of the box is 3/8, it's going to be raised a little bit. So I'm just sort of dry fitting it and then going to close it. And just seeing where I want to put it. I don't want it up too high because then you'll bend this paper. I don't want it too low because then it's not going to hold. So I'll figure out where I want to do it. And then I'll add some glue to the tabs at the back. And hold those tabs down. I'm going to open this up again. And then just take my bone folder and just make sure that is going to stay. So yeah, it looks like the paper has bent and it's going to stay that way, but you know what, that's okay. All right, let me give you the measurements on how to cover the box. My husband brought me some hot coffee. He is the best. Okay, so I have realized that I need to have a fold. So I should have scored a spot for where the box is going to open and close. But we're going to sort of build that into here. I guess I could score it now, but so, and this is how it's going to go. This is the outside of the box. So this from the circle part to the bottom is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 wide by 1 1/2 tall. This is 1 3/4 wide by 1 5/8, and this is 1 3/4 by 7/16. So same for here, 1 3/4 by 1 1/2, 1 3/4 by 1 5/8, 1 3/4 by 7/16, 1 3/4 by 1 1/4, 1 3/4 by 7/16. It looks a little wider. This is to cover the band, so it's just under 1/2 inch. You know what? I said 7/16. 5, 6. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no. So that is 7/16. This is 1 3/4 by 2 3/8. This is 7/16 by 2 3/8. And this is 1 3/4 by 7/16. So now that I've got that all cut up, let's see if it actually works. I'm going to turn the box upside down and do the outside. I have inked up the edges with some black soot. I kept it, I wanted to use very dark on purpose. So now I am, again, this is the outside. So I put the rounded piece down, and now I'm going to put the one closer to the score line. And you know what I should have done is, I don't know if you can see, but the wood grain does not match. It should all go the same direction. In my mind, you know, honestly, I'm going to put a sticker or two on the top of this box. So I don't think anybody will notice except for me. Okay, don't need anything else on the back. I'll turn it over to do the front. So we will, as long as the front side and the back side match, then that will automatically bend where it needs to bend. So again, that goes closer to the score line. I don't know that I necessarily like having that wide of a gap, but I'm just going to go with it for now. This is just a little part of the mini album. Yeah, this is a little too thick, but that's okay. This will be on the inside, and so I just had it at 1 1/4. You know, just use a scrap and whatever you have left to go down on the inside of the box. I'll do the bigger piece now. So that'll go inside that little closure thing. And this is the piece to go on the little, what would we call this? A slider tab? I don't know. And you know what? It looks like it's the right size. And then I have this side and the bottom. So if I were to cut it again, and I guess I could peel it off, I would make that a little bit bigger. And there we go. So here is how that fits. Now, I don't like this just because it sort of, as a design feature, it's not pretty. It breaks it up a little bit too much. But you know what? It is what it is. Could I put a sticker over it? It's got a bend. But now that we've got that, this is going to go here on the book, closer to the spine of the book than this piece, because this is where we're going to put our little album in, and I want there to be enough room for the spirals, I guess we'll call it. So I will go ahead and glue this down. Now add glue to the pieces that are sticking out the most. I can add glue here, but it's really not going to attach. So again, I'll keep this about 1/8 of an inch away from the where the paper ends. And it's going to line up to the bottom. I'll open this up and grab my bone folder. And burnish that down. And there we go. Let's move this out of the way. Pretty happy with that. Let's take some of our little guys and stick them in there. So should I put one on the top? I have ones cut out that don't have any stamping on it. Let me grab one. No, can't go like that. Like that. Just have it glued on there. We could do that. So once we get one colored, we can put it on there. And then you won't notice that, so that will be where they live. I was going to make it clear and put acetate on the cover, but I just decided it would be, I just liked it without it. So anyhow, all these guys that I've stamped and cut, they're going to live in there. That's the gnome box. When we'll put a short, I guess he's the leader of the pack, so he will go in there. I might find one for my cut aparts or my paper and just glue it on there. Maybe back it with some black paper. But all right, let's move on to the next step. This cardstock is 110 pounds. I use 100 pounds, 110. You could even double up a couple of 65 pounds or whatever you have, 80 pounds. That would work too. And then we're going to cut two pieces that are the exact same size. If you wanted to, you could make them all a little bigger and then cut, and then that way you get a good edge on it, but I didn't do that. I just tried to cut them all real straight and perfect, and I'm going to just adhere one on top of the other. So there's that, and then this one, we're going to have the yellow showing There is a right side and wrong side to this. It's not that critical because we're going to cover it. But in that tree paper, there is a right side and a wrong side to that also. But I never can figure it out. Okay, see here, this is wonky because I can't cut straight. So I'm just going to take my very sharp knife and cut it down. And also another thing you could do if you don't cut straight like I do sometimes is ink around the edges. Now on this, I have this cut apart, and I want to glue this cut apart right on the top, but there is about 1/4 of an inch on each side here, and then just about 1/8 of an inch top to bottom. So I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off of the top of this because it's all green and you won't notice. So we're going to make that 3 3/4 by 4, and then glue that down. I don't know about you, but if things don't have an even, sometimes it bothers me. This time, because it's the cover, it did bother me a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's better than what it was. Okay, so this is the cover. Here's the first page. The second page is another piece. Did I not cut that? Another piece that is... Okay, the next page is 3 5/8 by 4 1/4. All these pages are 4 1/4 inch tall. All right, 3 5/8 by 4 1/4. And we'll go like that. And then we're going to use the cut apart that's gone fishing. And I'm going to put that just face up on that pile, which is turned all upside down. And then we're going to cut the row your boat paper. So that's this paper. So this is going to be 5 1/2 by 7 1/2. We are going to put it on our scoreboard, and we're going to score at 4 1/4. Wait. No. Short side at the top. This is the top of the page. This is the bottom of the page. Score at 4 1/4. And then rotate and score at 3 3/4. That's the center of the page. Now, I'll tell you, this paper does tend to crack. So you see the bottom of it? It's cracked. So I'm just going to grab my vintage photo or walnuts. Actually, you know what? Use vintage photo. I've got some walnut stain in a liquid form, and I'm just going to ink that. And then let's see if this will crack a little bit. So I'll ink that there. So this is going to be the second page. Well, no, I guess we're on the 4th page actually, but if you'd like, there is also in the row your boat, no, the Go See Do paper, there is a little bit of these boats, and you can put them on one or both sides of your folder. I think I'm going to put it on the side facing the back because the next paper is the Go See Do paper. So I'm going to glue that onto here because then you'll see it because there's a smidgen of this diagonal stripe. I want that top or bottom. I guess I'll go like this. Okay, so that's the back. I'm going to put that in the pile, and the next one is this paper. It's called Go See Do, and this needs to be 7 3/4 by 4 1/4, 4 1/4 tall, 7 3/4, and you're just going to score this at 3 7/8, 3 7/8, and that's all you have to do with that one. We're going to fold that, and we're going to add some glue on the bottom because this is going to become a pocket. So we put glue there, and let's burnish on the fold and burnish the glue on the bottom. And that's all you need to do for that one. The next paper is the Gone Fishing Cut Apart. Oh, that's where we had the Gone Fishing Cut Apart. You can add it wherever you want. We'll put the Gone Fishing Cut Apart down there. All right, next paper is the Let's Go Camping, which is this one. We're going to cut this 8 inches by 6 inches. We're going to score with the 8-inch side at the top right at 4, and then rotate, and so the top of the paper is going to be against the left side, and score at 4 1/4. Okay, 4 1/4. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this. Nope. So the buffalo check side is folded. You want to make sure these icons are correct, right, the right orientation, top to bottom. So again, we'll go ahead and add some ink. You could add black. I'm going to go ahead and add the walnut stain. If I had added it when the paper was folding, it would help to eliminate that. Okay, I'm going to open this up now. No, I'm not. I am going to make a mark on this paper. Grab my pen so it'll show. At the folded edge, 1 inch from the bottom. So we're at 4 1/4, so I'll do 3 1/4. I see. We'll do it when it's open. Oh no, it's open 1 inch from the bottom of the paper. Oops, let me show you. So here's the bottom, 1 inch from the bottom of the paper. And then we're going to cut from here to here. I'm going to make a line. So from this corner, the open corner, where the two are folded together, to our little tick mark. So let me do it here. I'll just put the paper in my little paper trimmer. So it looks like that. There's a little piece. We'll fold it again. And then there you go. So there's a pocket. I'll go ahead and add some glue here. And then fold that and burnish. All right. This little cut apart's going to go either way, either side. All right, the next paper is our tree paper. This is called Camping Gear. This is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. We're going to score at 4 1/8. And then simply fold and burnish. I'm going to open this up and add glue to the bottom. and fold and burnish again. Okay, put that in the pile. Alright, now what we have left are 3 pieces. So I have this one, Happy Camper, and a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 each, 4 1/4 on both sides of the heavy weight cardstock, and 1 piece, the inside, so facing, what do I want facing this? That or this. This will be the inside. You can change it up, do whatever you want, put it on the inside. One's going to be the inside, one's going to be the outside. So I have 2 of these cut exactly the same size. So this one's going to go right on top of there. And again, if your edges show, you can trim them, or you could just ink up the edges. And then this one, I'm going to have the gnomes will be in the back. Oh yeah, so the plaid side will be on the inside because I was going to add more to that page. This is the back of it. So there's last page, and we can add a cut apart. I know I had one here. So I love that Let's Get Lost with the gnomies riding in the Jeep. What do you think about that facing each other? So that faces that, that's okay. And then this one, and that one. We're still going to decorate the pages. Oh, this is open. I need to make that into a pocket page, so just to do that, I'm just going to add some glue, and that will close it up. That goes like that. I want the Gone Fishing equal to the boats. I have another Gone Fishing paper, but it's got lots of neat cut aparts on it, and I didn't want to use that. So this is what we have. So you've got all those pages, and there's, you see a little 1/8 of an inch showing on all of those. So I'm going to bind this with my cinch. If you don't have a cinch, you can take like a spiral notebook, pull the spiral out. You'll probably have to cut it, pull it out, use the holes on one of the sheets and line it up and put dots on it and punch holes in all of these, and then use this spiral, put it back in. You'll just wind it around. It's labor intensive, but if you wanted to use a spiral notebook and you don't have one, that's what you could do. The edge of the book with the lines on here. All I need to know, I need to put it at 3/4. Oh, that's what I've been doing, 3/4. It may not be perfectly lined up. No, that's right, because I made a mark. I measured, the book is 4 1/4, so 2 1/8 is right in the center. So what I did to make sure it lined up is made a little mark on my machine right here, so I know the edge needs to be lined up. So that's 3/4. So I just have been lining it up. So I've got all the holes punched in the book. I keep turning them over one by one. All right, so now I have just pieces of my little cinch, what do you call it, binder. And the way you do this is you thread the inside covers, then the front, then the back. So inside pages, oh, we have to do it upside down. Let me do it this way. I'll take the back off. So inside pages, threading it on here. It's not rocket science. So I say it's not rocket science, but you got to do it a couple of times to make sure that you get it right. I have just found in my experience it's just easier just to practice on some scrap paper. All right, so now I'm putting the front and then the back. I have to make sure this will be right. So, yeah, so it'll go this way. All right, now I'll pull this off, put it down here, and now it cinches it. And when you're doing a small book, it's easy to do. All right, so now here's the back. I turn it around, and there's the front. So now it's bound. Isn't that cool? So now I'm going to decorate the pages. So, yeah, it'll be really cute. All right, let me show you what I do. All right, so now we're going to start making the little mini album for the left-hand side of the book. We've already put the 3 magnets in. So to make that, you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock, and for the covers, I used a heavyweight. I used 110 pound. For the inside pieces, I just used a 65, 80 pound, I'm not sure which one it was, but a lighter weight cardstock. So you'll need 2 pieces of cardstock that are 4.5 by 6 1/4. To cover these, you will need pattern paper 4 1/8 by 6 1/8. One of them I first used, this one, some blue cardstock, just because this was a cut apart, and I wanted to use the cut apart, but I wanted this larger cover, so I had to cut that the blue cardstock to put underneath it. So there is that. For, again, the inside, you'll need 5 pieces of cardstock, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and you will cover this with 4 by 6. So you'll need 10 4 by 6 pieces of pattern paper. If you're using paper that's got more than a couple that size cut aparts, that would be fabulous. Otherwise, I just use scraps. And ladies and gentlemen, I hardly have anything left of this, which is good, but I can't lie. I was sweating it when we got down to the end. So anyhow, you're going to cover the front and back with the cardstock, and don't forget, when you're covering, here's the cover, and then this one will be this way, so you need to make sure the orientation of the inside piece is like that, and then that piece would be like that, and then this would be like that. So I would cover it with generic pieces, something with a pattern like this, and then you can decorate it. And I'll walk through the decorating in just a second. So after I've gotten it all covered, that's when you can start using your cinch. Now, I went ahead and decorated it all with pockets and that kind of thing. And like I said, I'll do a walkthrough in just a second. What I should have done is just decorated it with the pattern paper and then cinched it and then decorated the rest. But, you get in a hurry to decorate. So here I am. Let me go like this. I've got, and I don't have all the cut aparts put in. That's a belly band. So just remember, when you're cutting or when you're decorating, the top 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch is going to be the holes in the cinch. Now, don't decorate the back yet. Let's just do the front. All right. And first we thread the inside pages first. I start at the back. All right, here's the back cover. I haven't covered it yet. Inside pages first. And I'm just using 6 holes. The reason I'm using 6 holes is because that's what I have left in scraps, honestly. But you could use 6. You could go all the way across. I have a ton of scraps that are these 6 pieces. Whoops, and then back cover. Okay. So I just decided, you know what, why not? Let's just use that. All right, I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to do my best to put it in here. And there we go. Oh, silly me. Even though, here's the back, I've cut holes for it, I should have put this on first. So I have to redo that. I will put that on and then we'll move on. Okay, so what I did is I just unwrapped the coils, just pulled them apart with my hands, didn't even need pliers, and then taped this page off, added this page, and then added that back page. And the reason I don't want this on is because I want to match up the magnets to it, but I wanted it to be in book form before I did that. So now that I've got the book made, I've put the backing or the magnets here, and then all I need to do is center this on there and push down, because I peeled off the backing, and the magnets will stick. Alrighty, so I have put the magnets on. I put a piece of tape on just to keep it strong. Alright, now I'm going to take this back piece of paper and I'm going to glue that on top of the magnets, and it should be nice and straight. The operative word here is should be, but it's the very back cover. Is anyone going to notice? So I'll take this. Put it down. And there we go. So there is our Back to Nature book. That stays in there nice and neat. And then we've got the little color your own little gnomes. And we've got the gnomes there. So I'm going to try to decorate the front of this maybe there. But in any case, so here's what I have on the front. Let's do a quick walkthrough. So this is a 4x6 cut apart. I cut down a little bit just to make sure that it was balanced. When I put it on, it sort of was over a little bit to the right side. You can see there's about 7/8 of an inch on the left side and 1/4 of an inch on the right. But what I was planning on doing was using this some thin jute with a bow there, and then I punched out the compass that was on one of the cut aparts, one of those 1.5 by 1.5 squares, and I backed it on 3 layers of cardstock and glued it on here and left it on there for a good long time with a clamp just to make sure it would stay on. I wish I had some more stickers. If I did, I would love to put like another gnome there, or I don't know. I don't have that much left. That's the problem. Since I've already made too many albums and 2 of these out of 2 paper collections, I was running out of stuff. So note to self, buy more. I just don't like to have extras left over, so I buy what I think I'm going to need. So anyhow, this will open like that. We've got this book. So what I did is I just cut all the larger scraps of paper I had left, and if I could, I would put coordinating ones top and bottom. So here is the first page with the flowers behind it. I had this strip of the yellow ochre paper I backed on some black cardstock, and I had a piece of this diagonal stripe paper that I put on some black cardstock, put on white cardstock there for a photo mat. There's a little sticker up there that says nature, and there's a compass sticker there. So the coordinating page, and I took out all the photo mats. So here's the yellow ochre paper. I made a rectangle of the flower paper. The back is the white. I used a lot of white just because, again, I'm running out of things. There's the fire. That was one of the 1.5 by 1.5 cut aparts. I just rounded one corner to make that a tuck spot. And a little sticker that says around the campfire. Then this page has, this had the banner paper on both sides. So on here I took some of the tree paper, made a rectangle out of it, added white on top for a photo mat, and had some tent stickers, and that says relax. The green photo mat is an 5 1/4 by 3 1/2, and the white on top of that is 4 1/2 by 3. Here I have, okay, the banner paper that I cut as a cut apart, probably about the same, 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. So I made a pocket, just a simple pocket. I just glued it on 3 sides. I didn't score and fold tabs. I wanted to keep the bulk down as much as I could, and I knew I was going to put a smaller photo mat in it, so that worked. And then this is one of those squares, the 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch squares that I cut out 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 black cardstock to layer it on. So here, this is a, wait, this goes here, and this goes here. This is a belly band that I made with one of the border strips on the paper. I just loved how that looked with the background here. And the back of this page is this wood grain. So I just, just sort of kept it the same. I did a side loading pocket on here, used the 1.5 by 1.5 there, and then that's just simply a cut apart I put in that side loading pocket. This will be fabulous once you get photos in it. So on here, I just cut out a piece of that wood grain, put a square on top. Is this open on top? Yeah, this is actually, I don't have any scraps because I cleaned up my desk, but this is actually open on top. I have this scrap, so you could put a photo on there and it would go right into there. So you could, or just lay a small photo on there. Once you get going, if you have any of those gnome pieces colored, I mean, wouldn't that look cool there if she was all colored? So anyhow, the back side of this is the red buffalo check. So I just put a white photo mat on there. I cut out this from the border strip, Go See Do, and just added a couple stickers on there. These icon stickers went on there, and I just like the red and white, sort of to pull out the white from over here, and then the red just to unify it all, and that's why I put the little Jeep or whatever it is there. The fish paper, I just used a plain photo mat of cardstock. This one I wrote around and realized how tedious that was, so I didn't do it again, but I could have done it for here. I had some fish stickers left, so I put that on there. This photo mat is 5 by 3 1/4, and this is the same. And again, a simple pocket here with one of those squares, and I just put a fish on the square, just because that had the dark blue, which coordinated with this dark blue, which was a scrap of paper from my stash. And then the last page is just simply this, just to put a photo here. This is open on the side. I had some of the red buffalo check, so you could add a nice little photo there. Let's see. Under here, on the side. It's too big for that, but if I had a smaller photo, I'd put it like that, just because I think that is a good composition. And then, of course, here I'd put a photo just like that, right on top of that green evergreen designer paper. And then the back page is just where the magnets are, and I would not put anything there, but you could take this whole book out and hand that around. One thing I wish I had done is made this a little bigger. I knew I was going to have this a bigger piece of paper, but still I didn't need that much cardstock showing. But it is, and it's not the end of the world. So again, we've got this little box that has my little gaggle of gnomes. Gnaggle of gnomes? I don't know. It's early. I haven't had 2 cups of coffee yet. So I have more that I'm going to put in here. I'm going to divvy them up between, I made 2 of these, as I said, because I had 2 collection kits. And again, I'll put a little photo there or a little sticker. This book comes out too. That's why we have that band there. And then just to finish the walkthrough, so here's the first page, which is attached onto heavyweight cardstock. This is a side loading pocket with a cut apart. I did cut down a little. You don't need to. This Take a Hike was a sticker. I did put it on some of this yellow ochre paper, so you still could add a small photo there. Oops, my heater went on. I'm sorry, I'm still going to finish. This is open on the top and popped up on dimensional, so you can slide a photo down there. Here's a cut apart with a journaling card. And this is a pocket page. Here's the back of that with a journaling card. I would put photos on both sides. A photo mat with the stickers that are open on the top, so you can still add photos below those stickers. And that is open there. Here is just a couple of fun cut aparts. Room to put picture there. This is open here. Room to put pictures in the pockets or on the back of the cut aparts. I made just a little card. I can probably go in and add some more journaling cards and photo mats because now I know I have more paper left. Here's another 3x4 cut apart and room to put a photo there. And there is the back of the book there. So you get 2 mini albums plus all those cute little gnomes. And again, the whole intention of this was to take the gnomes and color them and add them to photos, or hold them up and take photos of them, or whatever you want to do with them. I think they're adorable, and I think they should go on a nature walk with you. So that is my Happy Campers mini album with cutout gnomes. This again was from I've got everything in the way now that I went down. From a collection by Photoplay called The Great Outdoors by Becky Moore, and I used an entire collection kit plus 2 or 3 sheets from the Tulla and Norbert Great Outdoors collection, and I also had the photopolymer clear stamps and the dies, and I made, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 sets of the adorable gnomes. I mean, couldn't you see going around and maybe putting a gnome in this field of forget-me-nots and taking a photo, or here, there's a robin's egg. You could just put a little gnome sitting there next to the robin's egg looking, wow, look at that fabulous robin's egg. Do we have any other photos we could use? I don't know, he could be sitting, or she could be sitting amongst those flowers or amongst that. I know they're stylized photos and I know it's shiny and I'm sorry, but I mean, use your imagination. You can have fun with this. Just give it to kids, let them play with the camera, and have fun. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications because I still have some more great outdoors things coming up, and that is what I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous day.